This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top vertically integrated medical and wellness cannabis operators. With 51 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. You can learn more about Curaleaf over at curaleaf.com, with Curaleaf spelled C-U-R-A-L-E-A-F. That's curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, January 31st, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 877 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We kick off the end of the news week with a good headline out of Washington state, where proposed legislation to impose a limit on legal marijuana products at 10% THC appears to be dead. The disastrous legislation would have effectively gutted the state's legal cannabis market, as there are few products sold in legal states that fall below 10% THC, an arbitrary level that has no basis in science or any kind of valid organized thought. House Bill 2546 was pitched as a measure to protect the children and to prevent people from going crazy from consuming higher potency cannabis. As I would hope regular listeners would know, neither of those things are real or valid reasons why to limit cannabis potency, a position that thankfully held the day in Washington state as numerous people testified to state lawmakers about how bad of an idea the legislation would be. Chris Roberts, writing over at Vice, has an excellent piece that you need to read today that looks at the co-opting of cannabis social equity programs meant to help non-white entrepreneurs get involved in the industry by white, well-funded, and connected people, mostly men. Chris focuses in on California with his story, but the structural problems found there are ones that we've seen in just about every state that tries to build social equity programs. Mainly that it's very expensive to open up marijuana businesses, requiring most social equity program participants to partner up with other people or businesses with enough capital. And those folks are more often than not white. When states have complicated licensing applications, that also puts up barriers for non-white entrepreneurs that can be navigated by those with political connections. Again, often a white demographic. This is a storyline that every one of us needs to have a solid handle on. Read this one today. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Marijuana Moment has our final top story today, as the U.S. Department of Agriculture just closed the window in which it was accepting public comment on a series of proposed rules for regulating industrial hemp, with more than 4,600 in all being filed. The USDA posted the proposed rules 3 months ago after the 2018 Farm Bill lifted the federal prohibition on industrial hemp. Marijuana Moment has a good write-up on this with select bits of submitted feedback from entities like Michigan's Department of Agriculture and the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture. This is an obviously huge storyline that would probably be a good read for all of us to read in full. Pop over to Marijuana Moment for this one. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 50 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Curaleaf builds their business around compassion, education, and quality, taking the time to really understand what their patient customers need when they're seeking relief with medical cannabis, as well as taking the time to educate customers on the best way to utilize medical marijuana's different forms. And all of that is done around a bedrock of consistent quality. The best way to find out for yourself just what exactly makes up the Curaleaf difference is to swing by a Curaleaf shop, which you can find over at curaleaf.com, spelled C-U-R-A-L-E-A-F. Congratulations to everyone at Curaleaf involved in the opening of their latest store in Cape Cod, now their second adult use shop in Massachusetts. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for helping us keep the news lights running. All right, time for the Blitz. John Schroyer over Marijuana Business Daily has another update on his series diving into the bit of a disaster that is California's sloppy adult use marijuana market, which John's headline paints as in quote-unquote crisis mode. There are three main factors blamed for California's current anemic marijuana industry, mainly a two-tiered, overly complicated licensing program, high taxes, and competition from a healthy illicit market. Swing over to John's story for the fill-in details. Another Marijuana Business Daily writer, Matt Lamers, takes a look at the expedited process that the cannabis-derived epilepsy drug Epidiolex is going through down in Australia. There's been recent movement on a push to approve the drug after a decision late last year to begin the review. Epidiolex is manufactured by UK-based company GW Pharmaceuticals and remains the only FDA-approved drug in the US that's directly made from cannabis. Medical marijuana company Ilera Holistic Healthcare is partnering up with the nation's first historically black college, Louisiana's Southern University and A&M College, to develop and market a line of CBD products that is being sold under the brand name Alafia, which means inner peace in the Nigerian language Yoruba. Right now, the CBD line is available for sale in a dispensary in New Orleans, but plans call for eventual wider distribution. Ilera CEO Dr. Chandra Messias said of the launch, quote, "Our goals with this line is to support all communities by creating access to wellness products at affordable price points. No one should endure the stress of trying to balance a healthy lifestyle at high costs. That within itself is unhealthy. Our products offer an alternative supplement option at a reasonable price," unquote. Marijuana Business Daily has a helpful chart up showing the past 3 years of medical marijuana sales in Germany, which dipped in the fourth quarter of 2019 over the previous quarter, but still remained relatively strong in context to the longer stretch of time at around 3,300 pounds. For the entire year, just under 15,000 pounds of medical marijuana was imported, almost double the amount in 2018, which was again double the amount in 2017. Yesterday in Missouri, an effort to put a marijuana legalization question on the November ballot kicked off, with Missourians for a New Approach announcing that it was starting to collect the more than 160,000 qualified signatures required. If passed by voters and implemented, the measure would set up a taxed and regulated sales program that includes home grow. Missourians for a New Approach is going to have to work fast, though, as they face a deadline of May 3rd to collect all their signatures. The Detroit City Council just voted to impose a short temporary ban on adult use shops that will run through the end of March as it works to roll out a regulated system, in particular the social equity components of the city's plan. And finally for today, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is considering plans to issue an executive order to legalize marijuana should he be elected president in November. The possible plan was laid out in internal documents that were first obtained by the Washington Post, which broke the news yesterday. The documents lay out a series of other policy changes that could be enacted via executive order, with the marijuana legalization reform to come via an ordered descheduling by the Department of Justice. Add this one to the very long list of why Bernie Sanders needs to be the next president of the United States. Open up Marijuana Moment for more here. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the lesser strengths of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.